Hey, it's Tobias here, and today I want to talk about why most professional service firms get stuck, usually around a couple million, 5 million, or up to 10 million, depending on which market you're serving, where you're based, and what you're offering, and so forth. But it's very common, and I see this all the time, and this was exactly what I did in my professional service firm, more specifically a brand consultancy that I built. I ended up building a few other agencies, but all of them basically had the same problem, and I want to talk about why you're stuck and what you can do about it. I want to talk about my favorite model for building and growing and scaling professional service firms. Now, if you're watching any of their other content, you will hear many of the same ideas. It's just because I not only teach this, I not only do this with and for clients, I lived it. I was an entrepreneur for 13 years with a professional service firm that operated most of the time, well, actually more than half of the time, let's say the first 7 years, I operated much like everybody else. Let me explain what I mean. The reason why you might be stuck at a few million and why you're not growing beyond that, plus I bet your business is fairly unpredictable, is because of this one thing. You have probably built your professional service firm, agency, consultancy, around your passion and your skill and around your network, the relationships, the people that know you. And what that often leads to is that you are the face of the business. Essentially, you are the business, or you and your other partners, if you have partners. What that leads to is your company is actually very vulnerable and it's not scalable. Why? Because the core capability, it's you, and you are the linchpin. Everything depends on you, kind of. You've maybe built a team around yourself, but it's still all predicated on you, your skills, your leadership, your creativity, and your network, your contacts, your relationships. Do you know what I mean? That's what's going on in most of the agencies and consultants that I work with anyways. And so what is the solution? Well, there are different solutions, but I want to go back to kind of the fundamentals and talk about the business model of professional service firms. So I would say the biggest problem is you are likely serving way too many different types of customers or clients, and you are probably, selling them way too many different solutions to their problems, because the prevailing business model is, let's go find some problems within a specific kind of well or not so well defined area, and let's go find client problems, and we'll adjust, and we'll always come up with a proposal, and then we'll sell that, and we turn it into a project and hopefully a long-term client. Nothing wrong with that, by the way. It's just that there's a much better way. Now, if you go back to Henry Ford and what was called Taylorism and the conveyor belt type businesses and the assembly line, those business models that actually standardize their way of, getting clients, converting clients into repeat customers, and providing value at a good profit consistently over time, that repeat this process, kind of like a conveyor belt business. They are the most profitable, they are the most scalable businesses, and they are also the ones that usually actually end up owning their positioning in the marketplace, which is key. Because you look at, let's say, marketing agencies or any other consultancy for that matter, they're pretty much all the same. You might think, no, but we have our unique secret recipe, and our process is a little bit different, and blah, blah, blah. And yeah, sure, but are you truly owning a positioning in the marketplace? Owning a position, to me, means a specific type of client with a specific job that they want to get done. Think of you as the best, most viable, ideally the only choice for them. Because unless you have a group of people that have something in common, let's call it your segment, if they don't think of you, first of all, they know you, but they also think of you as their best or only choice, I don't really think you have a positioning. And most professional service firms, they don't really have a positioning. I mean, they have some kind of positioning, but it's way too broad. And that is what is resulting in them doing too many things, and doing too many things is actually what is resulting in a weak positioning or non-existent positioning. So one of the key things to decide on, are we going to be one of those companies that keep coming up with new solutions and unique solutions to unique problems, if you will? I'm maybe exaggerating a little bit, but I'm not far from the truth. Like, you might not be a fully customized or tailor-made shop where you always create unique solution. You might be, reusing some of your stuff and, so forth, and getting a little bit of efficiency and a little bit of automation maybe going there. But if we think of a spectrum of like fully customized on the one hand, which is basically whatever your problem is, we're going to come up with a solution and we're going to sell it to you. We're going to sell this solution once, and when the next client comes in, we're going to do something which is in some way different, it's customized. Now, that can be kind of a high value proposition, especially for large clients. You might have to do that, by the way. But if you want a really great business, if you want a scalable, profitable, reliable, sustainable business, you should do the opposite. You go from fully customized to fully productized. I'm going to leave a little asterisk there because you might not want a conveyor belt business. So what I advise my clients to do so that they can still get that rush, that feeling of feeling important and being able to use their skills in a creative way, to feed their ego sometimes as well. Not you, but some people like that. Then you can leave a portion of your business which is not fully standardized and productized, which I'll talk about, but you leave a layer that is, kind of a customized consulting services. Let me explain what I mean, and let me explain a process for building such a business. This is exactly what we do at The Simple Company, by the way. If you're interested, go to thesimplecompany.com. You'll find resources, you'll find some free offerings and some free resources, and you can set up a free call with me where I demonstrate exactly how this works. By the way, I will show you the money. So go to thesimplecompany.com/show me the money, and I'll explain exactly what I mean. But let's go back to the process for doing this. So again, what's the outcome? We want to build a company that is mostly productized. The other word would be mostly standardized. And the reason I say mostly, because I like a business where at the front, where customers meet you, you serve them the first few times, you have a set of productized services. It makes it easier to sell, it makes it a lot easier to buy. You get a higher flow, higher volume of clients coming in. And at the back of that, you can have more productized services, which I really love, having a whole customer journey designed specifically with products, service products. But you can also leave that highest level, the most expensive access to you or your team to do consulting. But that should not be the core of your business. Otherwise, you don't have a scalable business. You certainly don't have a business that you can sell, because what people who buy your business down the line want is a cash machine. They want a money machine. And as long as it's dependent on you and you're just dependent only on a few clients that buy all kinds of stuff from you, that's not really a very good business to sell. So what to kind of drill hard on this point, what I recommend you do is to build a fully productized, standardized business with a layer of consulting, if that's what you want. Like the conveyor belt business, as boring as it may sound, is actually the best type of business to own, and especially if you want to sell it, you should build one. Now, here are 3 steps for doing that. What I like to do with clients, the first step in my process is to simplify. When I say simplify, what I really mean is, let's find the most profitable and potential part of your business. Let's eliminate the waste. Let's get rid of the stuff that you don't need to and not you should be focused on. And let's reallocate your resources to serve only the highest yielding clients with the highest yielding offerings, delivered by the highest yielding processes and the people. So we want to simplify. That's kind of the first. We want to find the focus. We want to focus only on the essential. The second thing we want to do is we want to design the business for simplicity. So that's a slightly different thing than the first thing I mentioned, which is about focus. It's like the 80-20 principle. What I like to do, and what I can do perhaps for you if you want, is to do an 80-20 analysis. Like, we'll look at all the numbers, we'll look at the averages through a tool I call the money equation. I'll get back to that. And we'll figure out sort of what your average transaction value is, and all these different metrics that you need to know. But then we also look behind those numbers. We want to look at, there's, let's say if you had 100 clients, it's very likely that about 20 of them account for about 80% of your sales and profits and so forth. And so we can ask ourselves what should stay and what should we no longer focus on? Because if we get rid of 80% of our clients, which sounds very radical, you don't have to do all that, but you can move away, costs and resources, and you can reallocate them in better places. So simplify first is focus. It's also designing for simplicity. And what that means essentially is we are taking a look at everything, your value propositions, your presentations, your whatever, from mission statements all the way to customer experience essentially, and make it simpler, make it more aesthetic, make it easier to understand. And that has a massive effect on your growth and your bottom line. Most agencies, consultancies that I work with have very vague ways to define really their positioning, what they do, and what clients can expect from them. What results you deliver by when, etc. It's very vague, and that's why it's hard to convert those clients into sales. So designing for simplicity is focusing only on what's really relevant, the most essential stuff, and then designing it, so be very clear about what's your unique selling proposition and what exactly can they get, what is this problem you're solving, etc. So if you're interested in that, again, go to thesimplecompany.com, book a call with me. We can talk about that. This is a huge part of making your business sustainably profitable and scalable. Now, the second piece, I talked about simplifying. The second piece is to install what I call a growth engine. And that's essentially about 3 core processes. 3 core processes are: how are you generating leads consistently and in a leveraged way so you get the most result with the least effort? And so there are a lot of ways that you're probably not tapping into right now, which is like, are you, deploying structured referral systems? Do you have partnerships, strategies in place? Are you running ads, or are you just relying on what I call random referrals? Which for me, it's great to get referrals. I applaud you for that, but it's just the tip of the iceberg. You have so many opportunities you're probably not tapping into right now. And so I talked about the first step, which is really to look at your simplifying, and that means focusing and designing. And then secondly, to build a growth engine. So we implement, and we have this process, by the way, already like 80% done for you. If you're a professional service firm, we can basically reuse some of the stuff, which is exactly what I teach, is we'll take them and we'll install them into your business so that you build a machine that sustainably, predictably produces the results that you want. And we reverse engineer, your goals. Let's say you want to have a 10 million business, for example. We go through the conversions. We go through what that really means in terms of average transaction value, how many times you want to sell your client on something, what's the client lifetime value. We look at how many, what does that translate into essentially? How many meetings, how many leads do you meet? And that's the only sane way to build a business that has a realistic plan, let's say. So I have other videos where I talk about this. That's why I'm kind of rushing through this a little bit. So I talked about simplifying. I talked about systematizing your operations and your 3 core processes: lead generation, sales conversion, and value delivery. And thirdly, we get to the fun part, which is scaling up. And scaling, which is different from growing in the sense that when you're scaling, your costs aren't growing in the same proportion as your revenues, which is fun, right? Is where we take a look at 6 drivers or 6 levers of revenue and profit. I call it the money equation. I mentioned that before. And what that really means is we first analyze and look at your data. We'll look behind the numbers, as I said. Where's the money coming from? Where's the profitability? Let's make some decisions. And then when we've built the systems, we want to get to the part where we say, okay, how can we double leads? How can we not only double leads or get 20% lead, more leads or whatever it is? How can we convert them just a little bit more? How can we, improve the process of converting leads into meetings and proposals? And how can we automate some of that stuff? How can we take out some of the work from the process of generating proposals? And again, standardize. That's the solution. You don't want to be creating custom things all day long when you can standardize. And then, you can click a button and out goes an offer and, whatever it is you need to do to convert, leads into clients. And then as we get to, leads, we will look at conversions. We'll look at how can we maybe add a new offering, a back-end offering. How can we build perhaps a customer journey where we have multiple products in place, which I mentioned at the beginning of the video. How can we keep, so we can keep clients for longer? How can we get more retention? How can we get more referrals, etc. All these things we can I don't want to say manipulate, but let's say, because that sounds kind of negative, but it's not. How can we manipulate? How can we increase all these 6 categories? And when you do, the results compound. And what that means is you can grow geometrically, even exponentially, which is different from linear growth, right? So in summary, I know I covered a lot of ground in a very short, kind of fast-paced video here. I wanted to give you an overview of what it is we really do, but more importantly, the type of business that you should build if you want to grow, if you want to scale, if you want to have a highly predictable, profitable, and scalable professional service firm. And I don't see many of them out there. Most, entrepreneurs in this space are lifestyle entrepreneurs. What they don't realize is some days they get old or tired or get sick and they will not sell their businesses, their life's work. I keep talking to owners who do 2 million, 4 million, 8 million, and they've been in the business for 20 plus years and they're becoming a bit tired and they don't really have anything they can sell. So we could help you with that as well. What we do is we help you grow and we can help you prepare for an exit as well. We have all kinds of different models for that. I talked about, most of my stuff are productized solutions. And I also, like I recommended, do consulting. So if that's something you're interested in, again, go to thesimplecompany.com. You can find some links. You can go directly to /meeting and give me some information. Let's set up a call and we can talk about how you can grow and scale your profitable, scalable professional service firm. Thank you very much. And again, if you want more content, go to simplecompany.com. You'll find some links there. I got a YouTube channel. I got a podcast. I got a few other resources for you. Thanks so much. I hope you got some good ideas and some good value, whether you work with me or not. Make sure you think about this. What kind of a business am I building? What's the model? What's the logic? How am I going to reach my goals? Because what I did year after year, I thought I'm going to be able to grow this into big brand consultancy, but the model just kept me back and I was the biggest bottleneck because I was the linchpin in my business and I don't want that for you. Thank you very much.